Hello and welcome. My name is Max Morgan Butcher, and I'm the Education and Development Manager at San Francisco Opera Guild. As a supplement to our earlier talk on The Monkey King, featuring dramaturg and Professor Yining Lin and librettist David Henry Hwang, we're recording the full version of Dr. Lin's academic lecture today to supplement audience experiences of the opera. This recorded lecture will fall more in line with our usual opera previews programming and remain online indefinitely to continue the conversation and educate future audiences as the Monkey King travels around the world. But before we jump in, I'd like to take a quick moment to share with you about our organization's work and mission. San Francisco Opera Guild was established in 1939, and while we are technically a separate nonprofit organization from San Francisco Opera, many of our programs support the opera's work and help bring opera education to the community. Today's presentation is part of the Opera Previews program, a free lecture series featuring distinguished professors, dramaturgs, and artists that helps enrich the audience's experience of main stage productions at San Francisco Opera. However, our primary commitment as an organization is to bring quality education and arts engagement to schools around the San Francisco Bay Area. While you might be familiar with our in-school programs such as Opera Together and Sing a Story, we have an incredible range of offerings for students K through 12 that ignite a creative spark and grow curiosity in the arts. From the Opera Scouts to Voices for Social Justice, our teaching artists foster collaboration, self-esteem, and critical thinking skills in students with diverse backgrounds and life experiences. I encourage you to learn more about the Guild's work by visiting our website at sfoperaguild.com. And now for the lecture. Today's opera preview involves the return of our distinguished guest, dramaturg Yining Lin, PhD. Dr. Lin is a freelance dramaturg and theater education administrator based in Northeast Ohio. Most recently, Dr. Lin worked with Cleveland Playhouse as their manager of partnerships, where she worked with organizations and schools to bring out of school and theater programming to the students in Cleveland, Buffalo, and Las Vegas. She currently works freelance with Canton Ballet to enhance their outreach programming and recently started as an adjunct professor at Walsh University and North Canton. As a dramaturg, Yinning specializes in AAPI and social justice theater and has worked in San Francisco, Honolulu, Florida, Milwaukee, and Cleveland. She holds a BA in theater and classical studies from the College of Worcester, a master's of drama from San Francisco State University, and a PhD from University of Hawaii at Manoa, where she specialized in Asian Western comparative theater. Her dissertation focused on the intercultural nature of Jingju adaptations from the 21st century. Her current research is focused on developing anti-racist methodologies of dramaturgical research in both Western and Asian theater, as well as the presentation of Chinese ethnic minorities in Jingju performance. And with that, I think you can take it away, Yining. Oh, and you're muted. So sorry.
Thank you so much, Max. Let me share my screen. There we go. Can we all see that?
Yes, it looks great.
Great, perfect. Hello. As Max said, my name is Dr. Yining Lin. I am freelance dramaturg. I'm a Chinese theater scholar. I hold a PhD from University of Hawaii at Manoa, Asian Western Comparative Theater, and a Master's of Drama from San Francisco State University. Recently, I've also been working on depictions of mental health in Jingju performance. And I have worked with theaters around the Bay Area, including SF Opera, previously as a scholar in residence for Madame Butterfly. I am also a Bay Area native, so I'm proud to be working with the Bay Area organization. I grew up in Oakland, California, and I danced with Oakland Ballet Academy and company under the direction of Ron Guidi. And I was also an intern at the California Shakespeare Theater. I'm also first generation Chinese American. My father was born in Tainan, Taipei, and moved to San Francisco in high school. And my mother is from Taiwan, and she came to the United States for graduate school. I have a very deep personal connection with the Monkey King. My first play, you'll see me here at the bottom in the center. My first play was as a monkey and a thief in a summer school presentation of Monkey King Rex Havoc in Heaven. And as a result of that, my parents would take me to Eastman Books in Berkeley to buy the Monkey King picture books, which I still have on my shelf today. They're very thick books, maybe about that thick each. But I love them and they're amazing. There's about 36 of them in total, and I have about 10 or 12. So I'm still collecting even 40 something years later. So The Monkey King at SF Opera. This is a world premiere libretto by David Henry Hwang and music by Huang is the latest in the long line of collaborations between David Henry Hwang and Huang Ro, including An American Soldier, which was recently nominated for a Grammy, the opera version of M Butterfly, David Henry Hwang's Tony Award winner from 1989, and The Rift slash Written in Stone. This opera is written and sung in both English and Chinese, with the Buddhist scriptures in the opera being sung in Chinese and the rest of it being sung in English. So who is Sun Wukong? He is the king of the monkeys. He is mischievous, he's vain, he's resourceful, he's loyal, clever, a little bit naive, and has a desire for revenge, which Huang Rao says makes him inherently operatic. He is trained to transform into 72 different shapes, including Buddhist temples, birds, animals, different people. And that's how he gets out of a lot of the scrapes that he's in. He is also able to clone himself by pulling out hairs from his head and blowing on them. And that becomes many, many different little monkeys. He is one of three disciples of a Tang priest, and he is charged with protecting the Tang priest on his journey from China to India to fetch Buddhist scriptures. And he is by far the most popular figure in the Journey to the West epic novel. And in our opera, he is played by a singer, a dancer, and a puppet to enhance the magic. So the legacy of Sun Wukong is vast. He is not the main character of the epic, but he is certainly the most popular. During the last year of the monkey in 2016, Sun Wukong was essentially the mascot of the new year. And I was lucky enough to be in Beijing during the new year, and he was everywhere, all over the place. My friend even said we sat down to dinner one night and said he was tired of seeing him around Beijing. Um, his story has been adapted into video games, comic books, anime, television shows, and movies. And as you can see, even Lego has gotten in on the game. I actually have that Brickheads Lego set, which I'm very excited to build. My kids will not be able to play with it. And his adventures have been also used for educational outreach in Shanghai to teach children about Jingju and its conventions. And also, he has been adapted into a video game for PlayStation 4. What is our opera start? Our opera starts with Guan Yin floating on a lotus petal. She and the bodhisattvas are chanting Buddhist scriptures, and they will watch over our story. We find Monkey trapped under the Five Finger Mountain, where he has been imprisoned for 500 years. He recaps his time as king of the monkeys, learning the secrets to immortality, getting a weapon from the Dragon King, and renaming himself the Great Sage equal to heaven, and waging war against the Jade Emperor and heaven. Monkey goes on to recount the wager he has made with Buddha that he could escape Buddha's hands to become the Emperor of Heaven. He believes at one point that he does actually win, and he believes he manages to jump off Buddha's hand and land in what is the land of the bliss. It turns out that Buddha says, nope, nope, you have not won. He plucks him out, picks him on his hand, and then encapsulates him into the mountain, which is actually Buddha's hand. And Buddha's hand turns into stone. He is finally released from the mountain when he hears Guan Yin singing the sutras, and he's able to repeat them, thus reaching enlightenment. So David Henry Hwang is our librettist. He is a playwright, a librettist, a screenwriter, and a professor at Columbia University. And he often centers on Asian American identity in his plays. He has won the Obie Award for his plays Fresh Off the Boat, or FOB, Golden Child, and Yellowface. He has also won the Tony Award for M Butterfly and nominated 3 more times for Golden Child, Flower Drum Song, and Yellowface, most recently in 2025, with the Roundabout Theater production starring Daniel Day Kim. And he has written the libretto for 13 operas, including Dream of the Red Chamber, which was presented in the SF Opera season in 2016, and then again in 2021, 2022. Huang Rao is our composer. He's originally from Shanghai. He lives in the US now. He is the son of a famous composer, and he started training at the age of 6 and entered the Shanghai Conservatory of Music at the age of 12. He received training at Oberlin Conservatory of Music here in Ohio, which is about an hour and a half away from where I live now, and has received a doctorate from Juilliard. He is heavily inspired by architecture, modern art, integrating space, time, color, and sound into his compositions. And his technique is often called dimensionalism, which uses a unique musical voice to integrate elements of Chinese folk song, Western avant garde, rock, and jazz into exciting sonic worlds. And he has said that his inspiration for writing The Monkey King was his children and how he felt that they needed to learn about Chinese superheroes. So, story development. How did we get to this opera? How do we move from a 4 volume epic novel into this opera? Well, first of all, it's important to know that that the opera focuses on the origins of the Monkey King and his chapter Monkey wreaks havoc in heaven. And they wanted to make sure that Monkey had a happy ending. In the original novel, he does not have a happy ending. He is trapped there, and Guan Yin says you can be released from the mountain if you protect this Tang priest on his way to India. So it's sort of like a hostage situation. So David Henry Hwang and Huang Rao made sure that were adamant that they wanted Monkey to have a happy ending or a tuan yuan, which means rounded ending. Um, so in the opera, they made sure that this happy ending for Monkey um, was framed in flashback. All of his adventures in heaven, all of his adventures under the water, all happen as flashback, and then his freedom is from the mountain. And then at the end, he is released from the mountain at the end. So these are our characters. We have the Monkey King, Sun Wukong, Jade Emperor, Guan Yin. We have all of these characters, an assortment of fish, an assortment of monkeys. Because at one point during the opera or during the book, Monkey King does travel underwater. So that is where our puppet becomes important. So what is Journey to the West? It is a novel, a 16th century novel attributed to Wu Chang'an. It is one of the 4 main novels, which includes Journey to the West, The Water Margins, Dream of the Red Chamber, and Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It is a fantastic epic mythic retelling of a true event where Xuanzang is a Tang Buddhist monk who traveled from China to India to bring Buddhist scriptures to China. This is the general structure of the novel. Chapters 1 through 7 is Birth of Monkey / Monkey wreaks havoc in heaven. And then we have chapters 8 through 12, which is the history of the monk. And then 13 to 100 recounts all of their adventures, finally reaching the land of bliss and enlightenment at the end. Most of the story is episodic, which makes it easily adaptable for children's stories, comic books, and TV shows. So this is the monk's journey. He starts here in Chang'an and he goes all the way around. He sort of doubles back a little bit here, but he goes all the way to India. He stays in India for about 10, 20 years before he finally goes back to Chang'an and brings the sutras to China. He did this all by himself in real life, and somehow he did it safely and all by night, um, without the help of magical creatures. So what is Buddhism? Buddhism is one of them is, and this is just a snapshot of Buddhism. This is in no way a full compendium on Buddhism, but I want to give you the basics. It is a major religion that is practiced worldwide. It is based on the teachings of Buddha, which are distributed through sutras or chants. And the ultimate goal is to reach enlightenment, which provides insights into the nature of reality, an end to suffering, and a cycle of rebirth. The land of bliss is sort of the equivalent of the Western heaven. It's a place that is free from suffering and a place to reach enlightenment. Guan Yin and the Bodhisattvas play an important role in our opera. Guan Yin is the goddess of mercy and compassion. She spreads the Heart Sutra, which we hear in this opera and was actually translated into Chinese by our monk. She and the other bodhisattvas will delay enlightenment for themselves out of compassion to save human beings and other people. And she can appear in different forms according to what is needed most to relieve suffering. Bodhisattvas are gender fluid depending on their location. Guan Yin is depicted as male in India and depicted as female in China. And in our opera, Guan Yin and the other bodhisattvas watch over our story. This here is Guan Yin here in the center, and the other bodhisattvas surrounding her. Um, so, what is Jingju or Beijing opera? You will hear elements of Jingju music in this production. You'll also see Chinese dance, which has been influenced by Jingju as well, acrobatics. It is one of the most popular Chinese forms of theater. It's actually one of the younger forms of Chinese theater. It has four main skills: song, speech, dance, acting, and combat, and four main role categories: the Dan, which is the female; the Sheng, which is the male; a Hualian, which is the painted face; and a Chou, which is the clown. And there are subsequent subcategories: civil, martial, young, and old. And there are a certain number of special characters, of which Sun Wukong is one, because he is a Hualien for the painted face. He's also magical, which makes him a Hualien, but he also has to be a small stature, which makes him more of a Chou. The characteristics of Jingju are as such. Stories are taken from classic Chinese folktales, legends, and current events. I saw one show once, which celebrated essentially the end of fascism in World War II, and they had a plane on stage. The movements of Jingju are stylized, and they punctuate the words that are spoken and sung. It draws on past traditions of mime, farce, acrobatics, arias, and melodies. The main language is Mandarin Chinese, and there are two styles of text and music: arias and prose passages. Arias are sung with music accompaniment, while prose passages are spoken in a stylized fashion. Playwrights will select a fixed melody with words to match, making sure that end of each line rhymes and that the tones match. Jingju sets are traditionally sparse: two chairs and a table. That is all you need. It leaves a lot to the imagination. If you're climbing a mountain, you climb up the chair, over the table, and down the chair. If you are in a boat, you jump into an imaginary boat and you act like you are on the water. Recently, sets have become more elaborate. Traditional theaters, as you can see here at the bottom, more elaborate, more bigger set pieces. It leaves a little less to the imagination, but it is still pretty sparse and gives enough room for them to move around. Traditional theaters were in tea houses, restaurants, matchhead theaters, and large homes, which usually belong to the emperor or to rich merchants. These are our costumes. They're all made out of silk. Even if they're meant to be ugly, they're also beautiful. Civil characters will use water sleeves called 水袖, which are 3 foot long pieces of silk that are attached to cuffs, which then punctuates movement and punctuate emotion and speech. Main martial characters cannot use water sleeves, and as a result, they have giant pheasant feathers that are attached to their headdresses, which they will then use as water sleeves as well. And all characters have wear headdresses of some sort, and each actor will get their head wrapped with tree sap and special hair that is stuck to their faces. Is quite the arduous process. I've been through it. And if you are comfortable with our 600 milligram ibuprofen, it is very comfortable, almost like wearing a glove on your head. Jingju makeup. This is just a sample, and I want to the Dan and the Shang makeup are meant to accentuate the eyes, as you see here. This is a character who is based on Esmeralda from Hunchback of Notre Dame. And you can see the pink accentuates the eyes, it makes it pop out. The Shang will also have a small dart of red on their foreheads. The Cho, which is this one here on the top left, are meant to be ugly, but also funny and beautiful. And they usually have a circle of makeup around the eyes and the upper part of the nose. And it's important to point out that despite being the lowest character role type, Cho actually carried the most religious weight. You will have good luck. You will have a good show if a Cho puts on makeup first. It doesn't have to be the whole face, but at least a dart, a swipe of makeup is fine. A Hualien, which is the painted face here, down at the bottom left. Um, Each pattern and color combination has a different meaning and is symbolic of the character's personality. And this is a list here that I will not read, but you can look at it later when you watch this lecture. So we have discussed how Jingju plays an important role in the history and the story of the Monkey King. I will skip around in this particular piece. This is the whole opera Monkey Wreaks Havoc in Heaven. It is quite long, so let me just skip around and I will show you some of the acrobatics that the monkeys use in this production. So yes, so while when Jingju first came around, obviously we didn't have springboards, we didn't have high wire acrobatics, and it is just adapted to modernize with the times. Those are you start training at the age of 6, very young. I have a former colleague who was studying Kunshu. She's a third ranked Kunshu performer in Shanghai, and she knew her teacher better than she knew her own parents. So that's how young they start. And you will see some acrobatics in the opera as well when you go see it. Um, this is our second video. We will not play the whole thing, but I will. But you in this video, it captures Monkey's mischievousness, his humor, and his ability to fight. So now we move on to our opera, and this is a video from our with General Director Matthew Shiblock. Shiblock.
San Francisco Opera's world premiere of The Monkey King will be extraordinary, unlike anything we've ever had on our stage. We've commissioned composer Huang and librettist David Henry Hwang to compose an opera on the first chapter of the great Chinese novel Journey to the West, introducing us to the irreverent, powerful, scheming, but lovable character Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. The Monkey King has delighted centuries of readers and has made his mark in video games, movies, and television series, including, most recently, Dragon Ball Z, League of Legends, and the PlayStation game Black Myth Wukong. It's a fantastical story of heroism, battles, and magic, an action-packed journey that takes us from the depths of the oceans to the heights of the heavens, filled with gorgeous music sung in both English and Chinese. Acclaimed director Diane Paulus and San Francisco-born puppeteer Basil Twist have brought together a fabulous group of designers who've envisioned a world of silks, puppets, projections, and movement that will transform the stage. The Monkey King has been commissioned in partnership with the Chinese Heritage Foundation in Minneapolis. Tenor Kong Wang makes his San Francisco Opera debut as the Monkey King, who is watched over by Megwei Zhang's Guanyin and Jusung Gabriel Park's Subuti. Konu Kim reigns as the Jade Emperor, accompanied by Peijin Chen as Supreme Lord Laozi and Juwon Kong as Lord Erlang. Carolyn Kwan makes her company debut on the podium.
So the music. So we would be listening to a couple to four arias. This is We Will Truly Be Free. This is Sun Wukong's very first aria. It's in English, and he is describing his life previous to when to being trapped under the mountain.
They gave me a new name, handsome monkey king. In truth, I added the handsome myself. I found a safe home for my children on the mountain of fruits and flowers, protected from beasts and monsters in the cave behind a curtain of water. But I had to do more, for we remained threatened by old age and death. We were all slaves to the cruelest of tyrants, Yama, the god of death. The jungle sees us as weak and desperate, inferior and born to be victims. I would find an immortal to teach me the secret of eternal life. Then we would be respected. We would rise up. At last, we would truly be
So in this aria, he is describing his time as king of the monkeys on the mountain of fruits and flowers underneath behind the waterfall, which he is able to he was able to penetrate when other monkeys could not. This next one is in Chinese, and this is such a pivotal moment for us, for AAPI, for the AAPI community, especially in opera. We very rarely hear Chinese being sung in opera, and so this moment is huge for all of us. I have the translation here. This is a Dharma that was translated by the monk, and this is the Dharma in Chinese and then in English here. And this is Guanyin singing in Chinese. Our next aria is also Guan Yin. It's in English. In our opera, Jade Emperor is corrupt. Tell me you've heard this before. He is corrupt. Everybody is concerned more about their status, more about what they receive from being a part of the Jade Emperor's court. And Guan Yin sees this, and she gets really mad. She gets very angry at the Jade Emperor, and this is her rebuke of what he has done to heaven and how he has forgotten all about the people on earth.
Yet he's a living creature. Therefore deserve your respect, your attention, and your care. You refuse to see this is the source of your weakness. Heaven's its own foundation, which your role has grown corrupt, concerned only with retaining your luxuries and privilege. What have you done with the power you had? Now that you are faced with a power greater than your own, you can show no reason why all you have built should not be torn dismantle the structures that keep you in power. Raise the deserving, cherish and resources. Relieve the suffering of our creatures, regardless of station. Relieve the suffering of our creatures, regardless of station.
Our last aria, I mentioned before that the monkey makes a deal with Buddha that he can jump off his hand and into the land of bliss. And as a reward for him being able to jump off Buddha's hand, he will become the king of heaven. So at one point, Monkey believes that he has jumped off Buddha's hands and he has landed in the land of bliss. He is there for 10 seconds before Buddha reaches down, plucks him out of the land of bliss, and says, "Nope, sorry, you have lost." And then his hand becomes the mountain. So this is Monkey in English, singing in English, believing that he has landed in the land of bliss.
I have flown farther than ever before. What is this place? How far have I
I love this music. I think it is beautiful. It's evocative of what the monkey means to all of us who grew up with him and grew up with his stories. It's a beautiful and fitting way, especially right now in our time of division and hate, to bring the Monkey King to Western audiences and to share, as Hong Rao says, to show kids um, who a Chinese superhero is in a form that has been so um, that has promoted Oriental stereotypes. This opera is just beautiful like that. I want to move on to the costume design by Anita Yavich. She is a Hong Kong-based designer. She took influences from graffiti, utilized techniques from Chinese textile design, such as mud silk, which is a technique that was developed in southeastern China over 2,500 years ago. Silk is layered into the mud of riverbeds and then dyed with yams, which then leads to the fabric being textured on one side and orange on the other. And in order, and she uses this fabric, it's a very ecological way of dyeing fabric. And she uses this fabric in her pieces. And then in some pieces, in order to achieve a more structural element, Yavich and the costume shop created metal elements with heat press foiling and laser cutting. One big priority for it, SF Opera, is that because actors work a lot under large lights. They sing. Costumes can become sweaty and smelly and, well, frankly, gross. And so all costumes need to be dry cleaned. So all their materials are sent to be, all their costumes are sent to be dry cleaned. These metal pieces are structurally beautiful, but they can be removed so that the costume can be sent to be dry cleaned, and then the metal pieces can be put back on. I also want to point out the Dragon King here in, let's see here. Oh, here he is. The Dragon King here. He is a Cho. And as we have pointed out before, you can tell because he's got this round circle of makeup on his face. I also want to point out the monkey's doublet here as well. This is made from a 3D printer. It is actually the character Ho, which means monkey in Chinese. And Yavich printed out this character in Chinese and then invert it in a way to make it the doublet of the monkey. And it's such a beautiful, fitting way to incorporate Chinese characters into his costume. So Basil Twist is our designer. He is the designer of the puppets. He is puppets and set design. As you can see, a lot of the set designs are evocative of Chinese oil painting or Chinese watercolor paintings. It is made completely out of silk and emphasizes impermanence and fleeting moments. And it's minimalist, like a Jingju set. This here is the land of the fruits and flowers. This is the waterfall curtain. And this is the Dragon King's underground kingdom. And this red piece here is actually the cudgel. Monkey King goes down. He has been gone from his monkeys, from his little ones for ages, and he has found that they're being attacked from all sides. And he decides that he needs a weapon. He starts training them in the art of war and fighting, and he discovers that he needs a weapon himself that's strong enough. So he goes to the Dragon King's underwater kingdom, and the Dragon King keeps giving him weapon upon weapon upon weapon, and says, "No, none of these are heavy enough for me." And so the Dragon King dares him to say, there is this column that's holding up our Eastern Ocean. I don't think you can use it. And Monkey, because he is magical, starts to shrink the column down, and it becomes his cudgel, which he tucks behind his ear, and that becomes his trusted weapon throughout the epic. Here as well is the Queen's Peach Garden. At one point during Monkey's adventures, he is invited up to heaven as a form of flattery. He is given a nonsense title, first as the protector of the king's horses. He finds them abused and he lets them go, thus wreaking havoc in heaven. And then he is invited again to be the protector of the Queen's Peach Garden. And because Monkey's main objective in this beginning chapter is to become immortal, he discovers that the Queen's Peaches can actually give him immortality. So what does he do? He eats them all, and he eats all of the big juicy ones, leaving the small ones for the Queen's maids to gather for a giant feast in honor of Guan Yin's birthday. I love these sets. I think they're gorgeous and just so evocative of Chinese paintings. The puppets are again an integral part of our opera. It is how a lot of the magic is done and how it is and yeah, just how a lot of it is done. Here at the top we have the horses of the kingdom of heaven, and they are beautifully manipulated by these puppeteers. And here they are; they're running around because they have been freed. At one point, too, Monkey goes to war with the kingdom of heaven. Here on the right hand side, with the blue and gray banners, is the kingdom of heaven, and the red and yellow are the monkeys. And so, in order to show size and sort of show army strength, we have puppets who fight each other. At one point during the last battle, Monkey turns himself into a sparrow, and Lord Erlong, who he is fighting, turns himself into a hawk. These are evocative of kites, and all these are again all made out of silk. And then here we have one of the heavens guards can put everybody to sleep with a magical peepaw, and his umbrella is used to trap all of his enemies in umbrella. Instead, Monkey steals the peapod, puts all the heaven guards to sleep, and he captures all of heaven's soldiers in that umbrella. And then finally, here we have our final battle. Heaven becomes all these swords, and the monkeys become all the shields. And using puppets can really help to show size, so strength, with only one person manipulating all these puppets. And I just want to show this really quick video of the horses moving. We're going to skip here to the very end. This is works in progress process. This video is available on YouTube. Give me a quick minute. Oh, and we'll also show a video of Five Finger Mountain, Buddha's hand becoming the mountain.
These are the horses that you saw earlier in action, which I just think are so gorgeous. They're just on sticks. And so the notion that the monkey sets them free and they can fly and be free in the heavens. And then this last clip, we'll just set this up. So you heard about the 5-element mountain. So what happens is at the end of the opera, the Monkey King is so victorious and he thinks he's, deserves to be the king of heaven. And Subhuti says, well, if you can jump out of my hand, you could jump into the land of the bliss. If you can jump, then you'll earn the title of King of Heaven. So he goes to jump out of the hand, and he thinks he's landed in the land of bliss. And actually, the final aria you're going to hear is when he lands, and he thinks it's like an anticlimax. He thinks he's in paradise, and then he realizes, wait, what's happening, right? And so what happens, this hand, right? And so this is an early prototype, and Basil's working on it so the fingers don't look so pointy. All of a sudden they change, and they become the 5-element mountain, and they close in and they trap the monkey. And that's where he gets trapped for 500 years, and that's the beginning of the opera. So the opera is really a flashback. He's trapped in this 5-element mountain, and he has to learn his lesson for 500 years and really reflect on all the teachings. And in reflecting the way David and Huang set up, he does the whole flashback of how he was born and all these adventures. So we can roll the video now, and you'll just see this very early prototype of these fingers that start to move and trap him and become the stone. So you have to imagine the monkeys in the middle there. And so you start to see the Buddha's hand becomes the monkey, traps the monkey. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to me talk about the Monkey King, a character that I love, that has stuck with me since childhood. Please see the opera. Please watch our video interview with David Henry Hwang. And please come back and enjoy this lecture. Thank you so much.